Good afternoon. I would like to take a break from our regularly scheduled program to talk about something that's been in the media incessantly without stop for the last few weeks. As you can see, I am wearing my UMass Dartmouth t-shirt. It's backwards to you, but you can tell what it is. I've been hearing and reading and seeing a lot of really upsetting, nerve-wracking, kind of unsettling things going on in the media regarding my college. As many of you probably know at this point, one of the two Boston Marathon bombers is a student, or now was a student, at my college. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, or however you pronounce his last name, of course, 19-year-old sophomore, was a student at UMass Dartmouth. The problem with this is the way the media has been treating my college. So Tsarnaev, or we'll just call him Dzhokhar, obviously came from my school, and we all know what he did. The actions of one student, and now I guess three new arrests the other day of, I don't even know if they were all students. I know at least one was. The point is, the actions of 4 boys have affected my entire college, and it's thanks to the media. And we all know how I feel about the media. This is my second huge bone to pick with Fox News, and they're not the only ones on my shit list this time around. Here's the thing. The media has been vilifying my school, an entire university, okay? Fox News, various shows, like we got Bill O'Reilly and a few other of their opinion shows. As far as I know, Channel 7, 6, Fox 25, most of our local Boston channels, some of them haven't been that terrible, standard media reporting, but some of them have been downright nasty and unfair. The thing that I always wish I could shake into the media, just like take them by the collective shoulders and beat them to a pulp until they get it, was that you report the truth. You leave out opinion when you report the news. The news is the news. It is not what you think about a matter. You report the information as it is understood, and that is your job. You have one job, and that is to report the truth. Alright? The fact that UMass Dartmouth has individual students that are being targeted just because they're associated with UMass Dartmouth, that's appalling. Okay? If you want to hate somebody, if you want to target anybody, you target the person who did the bad thing. Or in this case, the few people that did the bad thing. Okay? Dzhokhar bombed the marathon. At least that's how the story goes, unless you listen to the conspiracy theories. Okay? One student out of over 9,000 students, not to mention all the faculty and staff. Okay, you're talking about a campus of over 10,000 people, and we have one bad seed. I think we're doing pretty good. Okay, so let's start with Bill O'Reilly and others. They're talking about, there's something obviously wrong with UMass Dartmouth. Look at who came, look at what filth UMass Dartmouth has bred. Look at who's coming from UMass Dartmouth. Da, 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 da. Okay. I'm sorry, UMass Dartmouth is not the International School for Domestic Terrorism. It is not. So Bill O'Reilly and others, they're focusing on the actions of 1 and now 4 men, young men, boys. They're boys. 19-year-olds. You're boys at that point still. They're ignoring, and I'm sorry, in my opinion, I believe they are deliberately, because this is how the media works, they're deliberately ignoring everything else about this campus and focusing on the actions of a few students to vilify an entire campus. What is wrong with UMass Dartmouth? Answer, not a fucking thing. I'm sorry. UMass Dartmouth academically is one of the better colleges in this entire country. I'm not even exaggerating. I know there's hundreds and hundreds of colleges in the country, but UMass Dartmouth is actually pretty damn good. for. No, Stanford, but who is? Besides Stanford. So, these media pundits, Bill O'Reilly bullshit, they're ignoring the dozens and dozens. I can't even tell you how many students I think might even be involved in this. Dozens of students who are involved in charitable events, fundraising events, nonprofit events, groups that are yearly, year after year after year, doing charity of fundraising events. Okay, we just did Relay for Life, okay? We've got AIDS benefits every year. We've got other cancer benefits. We do so much. Not to mention we have a MassPerg chapter, which I worked for. If you don't know what that is, it's Public Interest Research Group, and Mass just means it's Massachusetts. Other states have them. So we have a MassPerg chapter, which does a lot in the matter of environmental activism, activism for the homeless population, the cost of college and textbooks and all that. So there are dozens and dozens of students on UMass Dartmouth campus alone doing all this awesome outreach and charity events, fundraising, and working together to collectively improve shit in this fucking shithole of a place right now. I know you're like, oh, you're not a patriot. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. UMass Dartmouth students, along with students across the country, every single campus, they are working so hard to make this country more desirable, better place for everybody. You know, improve the middle class, help the homeless, reach out to students and children in need. And what do? You focus on the actions of 1, now 4 students. Good job, you shitwads. Okay? So, obviously we know that scary things sell. Sensationalism. You want to hear them trash people because we like that. I mean, if you couldn't tell that that's what people liked with the amount of reality television we have in this country, if you couldn't tell just by that people love sensationalism, they love catfights, they love to hate you. UMass Dartmouth is just the flavor of the week for Fox to hate on and for other media outlets to hate on. So if you're thinking that, oh, there's something wrong with UMass Dartmouth, look what came out of UMass Dartmouth, you can stop right now because you're full of shit. And I say that as lovingly as possible. I honestly don't think you're stupid, Bill O'Reilly. I don't think you're dumb. You clearly have some brain cells still working in your favor, but I think that people are ignorant. Ignorance can be fixed, but you cannot fix stupid. Okay, so this whole other thing that the media is going on about is UMass Dartmouth won't release Geocar's student records. They're focusing on, he's got outstanding financial aid balance. Well, you know what? So do I. So many people have outstanding financial aid. That's just how it is. Financial aid, if you know how it works, you get loans and you have to pay them back. A lot of us carry balances for a while until things clear. So focusing on his financial aid, that's just kind of silly, because I'm going to see here, I've got a $40,000 debt that I'm going to have to start paying off in 6 months because I'm just graduating now. Like, everybody has a financial aid debt. We still get to enroll. UMass Dartmouth, you can still, and you'll read this in the article if you can find it, Jokar can remain in classes. We can all remain in classes if we carry a debt. We can't remain in classes for that long if we haven't started paying shit back. But we can re-enroll in classes. We can still be a student with some debt, okay? And the media wants the school to release his academic records, and I'm like, why? You're just gonna see what classes he took and the grades he got. I mean, if in some small way it's relevant to the investigation, then I get it, and that's a federal matter. But why does the media give a flying fuck about what his academic records say? I personally don't understand it, and I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill with his academic records. Oh, there's speculation that he failed a bunch of classes. Who gives a shit? I don't understand. So the whole thing about UMass Dartmouth having this criminal, oh my god, he's a murderer, domestic terrorist, the big T word that we love to use. So here's the thing. I hate to burst your bubbles, but UMass Dartmouth is not the only campus, not the only university in this country or even the world to have a bad seed come out of their ranks. I know because he came from that area of the world that we all like talk about in secret. Oh my god, he might be a Muslim. His brother was a Muslim. He's a Muslim. Judging by the student reaction, the students who knew him, he probably wasn't very religious. Everybody who knew him is saying that. Our student newspaper has so many quotes from students like, oh my god, he smoked pot, he did this. I never saw him do anything religious. He wasn't like that. I'm more inclined to believe his friends than what the media says. So we're focusing on the family, where they're from. Okay, by the way, people, Chechnya is not the Czech Republic. Chechnya is not even in the Middle East proper. It's technically part of Russia, and they don't. The Middle East and Chechnya, they're not friends. So, I mean, I know I'm a 90s kid. I keep thinking Bosnia is a thing, but it's a little different than it was in the 90s. I'm still 90s kid, but still. And I'm sorry to you and Coulter people, we can't declare war on a region of a country. It's like, yeah, let's declare war on California. You can't. Let's declare war on Cornwall, England. No, it doesn't work. Use a map. Alright, so I know Muslims are really easy to hate in this country, and I get why 9/11 and the whole shebang, but I don't get why. Because so many people don't actually know what Islam is. They don't know what Muslims are, who they are as people. When I think of Dzhokhar, I don't think of a Muslim. I just think of a kid from Chechnya, grew up in a really tumultuous time. Now he's an American. He's a citizen. Or probably was at this point, was a citizen. When I read about his brother, when I consider his brother, they just are two different people. And I think people have to realize this. You can't look at it as a blanket statement. You have to individually look at the people involved. What were they thinking? What were their motives? Okay, Tamerlan, he's my age. Adult. Dzhokhar, 19. When I was 19... You're barely, you're still a child mentally. I'm not going to go into what I think about the duality there, but when I think of Dzhokhar, I'm not thinking the same thing I'm thinking when I'm looking at Tamerlan. I'm just not. So, yes, UMass Dartmouth, we did have a criminal come out of our school. He's now in a prison hospital. I know Muslims are easier to hate than campus rapists and things like that, but Dartmouth being attacked because of Dzhokhar's actions, you're not really, you're looking at the scale of his crimes, of course, but you're more focused on him, what part of the world he's from, and the fact that he might be Muslim, and look at his brother's wife, and you're focusing on all that. And the thing that bothers me is you're vilifying the entire campus because of this one boy. Now I'm thinking of all the criminals or the bad things that have happened to campuses across the country. I'm thinking of Duke University with the rape case some years ago. I'm thinking of Penn State, what was it, a year or two ago? Those molestation cases. And I'm thinking, was the integrity of the entire campus and the entire campus community brought into question when we were dealing with molestation and rapes? Probably not. So why is this any different? And if the answer is because Dzhokhar's a Muslim and because he's a terrorist, then I should reach through this fucking screen and slap you in the face like the bitch you are. Okay, yes, his crimes were worse, but you cannot use the crimes and the ethnic heritage and the person themselves to vilify an entire school. We are 9,000 plus students just trying to start our lives and do our thing. You can't turn us into villains and target us, the students, because of what one person did. And the thing that really, really brings that whole statement together is when you look at a campus of almost 10,000 kids, how many of them actually knew this person who was only a sophomore, and I think even transferred? I don't think he'd even been at campus that long. Probably, on the grand scale of things, only a few people really knew him. So people like me, who are hearing this name for the very first time on that fateful Friday, are like, who? So, you have no argument. It's null and void if you want to blame the entire campus for what Jokar did. Or that we harbored him, which is another thing that really blew my mind. Because if you had been on campus, one of my sisters is Skyping me, if you had been on campus that day, you would not be saying such horrible, hateful things about my school. Okay, it's a school. The campus, collectively, the higher-ups, the chancellor, the presidents, yada yada, they weren't protecting him. Everybody's like, well, when the first picture came out, why didn't they call the feds? Okay, I saw that picture. He looks like my cousin. You know, olive skin, brown hair, baseball hat. He looks like so many boys, teenage boys I've met in my life. He didn't, I mean, how do you, And I remember reading in our student newspaper about somebody who's a friend, somebody who knew him, saw the picture and didn't even make the connection. How can you? I mean, really, to be perfectly honest, psychologically, how can you even make the connection with a fuzzy photo like that? I'm not defending anybody. I'm just trying to think logically here. And the whole thing, I was reading about how come the school didn't pick up on his actions when they saw his license plate, Terrorist 1. Somebody made that up, to be perfectly honest, because if you remember back during the manhunt, they actually released his make, model, and license plate number. I mean, use your brains, people, if you think that he actually drove a car with a license plate called Terrorist 1. Somebody made that up. It's obvious. Okay. I don't know what else to say. I really don't. Other than the media needs to stop. Because the Thursday night into that Friday, when they were hunting him down, when he ran over and killed his brother, before he hid in that freaking boat, I woke up Friday morning, and it felt like the entire world in my little corner of Massachusetts was just like falling apart. My campus closed. I looked outside, I'm like, it's not snowing, I don't understand why we don't have school, I'm so tired. And I find out, oh, one of our students is a suspect. Didn't even register for like 2 hours. I'm like, what the fuck just happened to this little world? And then I'm getting updates from my school. Campus is closed today. Stay in your dorms. Do not come to campus or if you're a commuter. And then they evacuated school. Just like that. Cleared the place out. And I'm seeing pictures of Black Hawk helicopters and federal investigators and SWAT teams and police officers just swarm my school like maggots on a carcass. You tell me that my campus was trying to protect him, okay? Go ahead, I dare you. Of course you will. You're not gonna listen to reason, some of you. Now, it's been a very scary few weeks for UMass Dartmouth and for families in Boston and around the area. I get it. It's been very scary. You want to find a scapegoat. It's totally natural to want to find a scapegoat. But that doesn't excuse us, the collective us, from using our brains. 1.2 million years of human evolution, and we're still blaming things that aren't real. Okay? The media, their job is to scare you. It gets them more viewers, okay? It's like a fan club. It's like some sick, twisted fraternity. How many people can they get in their following? By using rumors and lies and juicy tidbits that don't actually make sense if you think about it. Terrorist 1. The lesson? Don't listen to the media. Hear them, hear what they're saying, but come to your own conclusions. Do your own research. Don't just stick to one network. Fox News. You're not even news. Like, what do you got? Who are you? Crap. So this is a very scary time. Uncertain what's going on, but I implore you, please think before you voice your opinions. The collective we need to do that. Because my campus has taken a lot of hits in the past few weeks, and it's final exam week, and we're graduating. It's a very busy time for school. And the media, they have not left my campus. I come to school every day and there's news vans and camera crews and satellite dishes. Okay, it got so bad that the school formally asked them to please leave. You're harassing students. That's not okay. And these are the people who you're getting your news from. So I never met Joe Carr. I might have passed him in a hallway, but I know so many people on that campus from 5 years of being a student. Who am I to judge people? You know, who am I to judge his friends? Well, why didn't you call the feds? It's such a confusing and scary thing to go through. His roommate, how is his roommate supposed to know? Do you know what I mean? Really, put yourself in the same positions. And that's all. I have nothing else. Besides, I'm graduating, and I'm really happy.